Bringing it to a Degenerate Friday edition of the Morning Briefing. Happy to have you guys with us here on NoFilter.net and the various platforms that carry the show. I'm Jeff DeForest. That handsome gentleman is one Mike Lubie Lubitz. And how about this, Lubie? There was money to be made yesterday. It was sitting there on the table. All you had to do was have the most magnificent, clairvoyant, epiphany-type realization of your lifetime and somehow come up with a guy who'd never played in a major before, who nobody's ever heard of, and bet him to be the leader after one round of the so-called Open, the very pretentious British Open. At Royal Troon, a guy named Daniel Brown leads after one round. You can bet that, Lubie. That's what you have to love about golf and the state of affairs and degeneracy today, is that you could bet who would be the leader after the first round. Crazy. And it was Daniel Brown at 200 to 1.
Oh, my God.
Do you realize the magnitude of that? 200 to 1? Hubie Brown was 150 to 1. James Brown was lower odds. Hannah Brown from The Bachelorette. You could have bet her and not gotten as good of a price. But if somehow, somebody had to have this, right? I mean, outside of Brown's family, who in the world, who in their right mind could have possibly when you went to the bookie and said, hey, I'll take 200 on Daniel Brown to be the leader after one round? Wouldn't the guy be obligated by some kind of constitutional ruling that, hey, I got to call some kind of shrink? I got a nut bag on my hands here. This guy could do damage. But anyway, congratulations to him. He's already sort of faded out of the lead as we speak here, although nothing too catastrophic. Shane Lowry is now leading the tournament as they're involved in the early portions of the second round of the tournament there at Royal Troon. Typical Chamber of Commerce day there yesterday, too. Miserable, rain, fog, wind, guys looking extremely pasty all the way around. And, I mean, you really looked out of place if you had a suntan there yesterday at the British Open. But very competitive, a lot of guys in there. Some guys shot themselves out of the tournament already, or so it would seem, including one El Tigre, which we'll get to in just a sec here, because it's a fabulous betting proposition. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff that you can bet on even now as the tournament's in progress. Bet Online would be the place to go. Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything in terms of online betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. Nice. I would bet Verstappen in every Formula One race. Wouldn't you, Lubie? You're going to win like 9 out of 10 times. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the games are over, head on over to their online casino. You can play poker, blackjack, or engage in one of the over 150 slot games they make available to you. Head to the website today to get in on all the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. BetOnline. The game starts here. Did anybody blow any money? Were you even considering? No, you're out of the Tiger Woods has a chance to win this thing consideration, Lubie. Yeah, that's one I give you great credit for this, because as much as you would like to believe that there's still a race for the president's seat, there is no chance that Tiger Woods is ever going to win again. Monty, old fat stuffy Monty, was right. That Tiger Woods probably shouldn't be playing. Isn't it cruel and unusual punishment at some point to force people to watch Tiger Woods? And then we get every shot. It doesn't matter if he goes and takes a dump in one of the porta sands off of 16. Boom, they got a camera inside. There it is. This is from the bottom of the seat here. And they track virtually every move that this guy makes. Now he came out, I guess this is some kind of fashion, but it wouldn't be necessarily very common in golf, right, to have some kind of a neck wrap to keep your neck warm. And it looked like he was wearing a neck brace.
Exactly.
I thought I was seeing the old boxing writer from the New York Times, Mike Katz, who wore a neck brace for like 25 years. And I'm thinking I would never. I asked him, I said, hey, Mike, can you give me the card from your personal injury attorney? And as soon as he gave it to me, I ripped it up because I'm thinking I'll never use this guy. 25 years, this guy's wearing a neck brace and he's fine. So Tiger comes out there looking like a shot fighter before he even got started. The weather was particularly miserable when he hit the course. And then after showing promising signs, the people were elated, Lubie. I don't know if you caught this, but he birdied number 3 after being even par going to number 3. He birdies the hole from way off the green there, and everybody's going nuts. And for a brief moment, I don't know, how long do you harbor this thought? For a brief moment, you thought, maybe it's possible.
No.
No shot, right? He ends up at like 8 over par, bogeys the last couple of holes. He was hitting balls from the railroad tracks somewhere, somewhere at Carnoustie, trying to get back onto the fairways of Royal Troon. It was really ugly, and then on top of that, I mean, showing signs of a shot fighter like we haven't seen since Jerry Quarry, what was fighting Ken Norton. This was particularly ugly. Just watching Tiger meander his way through the course and try and make it all the way to 18. Is it time, Lubie? Do you throw in the towel? Do you just throw up a white flag when you see this guy? Because they're going to put him out of his misery. It's the old they shoot horses, don't they? By having him miss the cut here, which would be the third straight time that he's missed the cut. He did make the cut at the Masters last time he actually made the cut in a major, and then ended up finishing last of the 60 people that were in the field. Yeah. So it's over, right? I mean, it's not over till we say it is. I think in this case it's over. Do you want to see Tiger Woods go out and play as not even a mere shell or any kind of reasonable facsimile of himself? He looked like when he took the course, he looked like he did in that mugshot when he crashed a Mercedes in Palm Beach.
Oh, God. Jeez.
He really, the only thing that could have energized him, I think, would have been Elin Nordegren chasing him with a 9-iron after he had that phone call from Rachel Yucatel. Yeah. That was a disaster. DeChambeau also looked like he was DeChambeau's yesterday. It looked like he shot himself out of the tournament. Rory McIlroy, who I was watching, have you seen this series on Netflix, Full Swing, about the golf tour? Pretty good stuff. I mean, it's pretty, it's a little gushy with some of the players that they cover, but I don't know. I mean, you couldn't help but like Rory McIlroy, can you? Seems like a really decent human being. Hard not to root for him, and yet it's painful to watch what is going on because after this heartbreak where he choked away in Vanderbilt-type fashion, the U.S. Open this year, he comes back now and blows a gasket on what should be very favorable turf for him, this links course at Royal Troon, which, once again, does it look that difficult, Lubie? It's sort of flat as a pancake. They don't have a lot of undulation and hills. I guess, that's subtle is what it would be. And yet these guys get destroyed playing this course. It's either really good or really bad.
Well, that's the thing is I feel like in the morning they get really like whoever plays in the morning gets screwed because in the morning they get this weird weather and you always see very low scores in the morning. And then the guys that come on in the afternoon like kill the course. And it's like, okay, like it's night and day. I don't know. And I feel like every year it starts bad. And then as the weekend goes, it gets stronger. Like the level of play, like that's the thing with the British. It's very different than anything we see over here. Like even places here where we have extreme weather down here with the heat.
Yeah.
We love having water stuff on our courses. It's nothing like what they like. Their weather is all over the fucking place. And I literally think you get a leg up depending on when you play. It changes everything. Like it just changes the whole trajectory of your tournament.
1 minute it looks like you're getting that aerial shot of the Masters on a perfect spring day in Augusta, and the next minute it looks like you're watching an episode of Deadliest Catch. I think the deckhands on Deadliest Catch have a better chance of surviving than some of these golfers do trying to traverse 18 holes. And I'm a particularly fan of adverse conditions. I love adverse conditions. I want this thing to be a total wreck by the time they get to Sunday. We'll see. Our man Ludwig Oberg, I think, faded into Mike Tyson territory, Bolivian in the tournament. So I didn't see him anywhere within range of the leaderboard where you would be encouraged to think that you were going to cash that ticket. So more money put up in smoke by us. Speaking of money put up in smoke, Louis, did you see this story? And it's an odd one because we have a similar parallel here in South Florida where we originate from. Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach area, where it was very, very debatable and very suspect. And you had to think, where were there more attachés full of cash passed under the table? At the city council meeting where Miami, the Marlins, got their stadium funding approved by a very suspect 3-2 vote, or at the World Boxing Council convention? What do you think?
Oh, God.
Maybe even the RNC last night, but that's a whole nother matter. This isn't actually a headphone. It's an ear bandage that I put on. How about Hulk Hogan is introducing the future president of the United States? That's good.
What do you mean?
You Hulkamaniacs? Let's all juice up with steroids. I mean, this is a guy that his roommate was Dr. Galea.
Yes.
Wasn't Linda McMahon part of the Trump administration, the first to go around? Yeah, that's a classic association. I mean, you would think nothing but ethical integrity if you're hanging out with Vince McMahon. McMahon! Even McMahon was shooting steroids. All of these guys that died in their 30s in the name of entertainment, all of that blood is on the hands of one Vince Q. McMahon Jr. Senior, I don't think would have ever gone for that. Hell, back then, guys had nothing but flat. They didn't have muscles when they were wrestling in the 50s and the 60s there at Sunnyside Garden in New York. But, yeah, speaking of scam money, wow. I mean, St. Petersburg, the city council just approved a new stadium for the Tampa Bay Rays.
I love it. It's in a stupid-ass area.
Based on what? I mean, what measure of success have the outside of being on the field and being one of the most remarkable franchises in terms of results to what would seem to be opportunity? Nobody cares about the fucking Rays. Nobody.
And I know that park sucks. I don't know if you've been there, but I went there for like a graduation, so I didn't see a game, but I got to see what it looks like and just the aura of it or lack thereof. The park sucks, and that is a big part of it. But where it is also sucks too. Like
it's not in a great area. I actually went through that area. I told you the story by accident one time when I was meeting a girl that I had dated in college, which is a bad thing to do. That was one of the real flaws of Facebook, and one of the reasons why it should be banned, because you try to connect with people that you knew in the distant past, thinking that the spark will still be there. And I remember I was driving to the airport, and I got lost in my travels there. I wasn't really adept at GPS. And I rolled by what looked like a ghost town. And then I looked to the right, and it's the stadium, the Blunderdome, and it says game today versus the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a single car in the area. I mean, this is for the Yankees who train in St. Pete. There's no interest there from the fans in Tampa to justify the city expenditure of what will be in excess of $600 million is their share of this $1.3 billion stadium project that's going to seat only 30,000 people anyway.
Oh, God.
What a great business, too, it is to be in professional sports, Lubie, where, we do a show on food in South Florida, and we meet many restaurateurs. And the biggest problem they have is, like, all of a sudden, their lease is up, and the guy wants triple the amount. Yes. To have them stay there, even though they've had success there for 30 years, paid their rent on time, and everything's been kosher. But maybe not all of the food, but certainly the deal is right on the level. And they're being forced out of business because they can't afford to stay in the places that they've had such success in. Yet in sports, you just say, hey, you know what? We'll leave town if you don't build us a facility on the house, by the way. We'll put up nothing. We'll pay you back. I mean, the arrangements that they make to pay back are, more bizarre than what Mr. Wonderful proposes on Shark Tank. When he says, I want 90% of your business and I want a royalty of $10 on every $5 item that you sell. Okay, Mr. Wonderful. Yeah. It's so good to be partnered up with a shark. I don't know. You'd be better off being partnered up with Greg Norman right now. Speaking of sharks, too. Again, no Norman sightings at the Open. Didn't he win that thing? Was that one? Did he win a major, Norman? And one of them was the Open, or is he one of these guys that just never was able to get to home plate? Anyway, no sign of him whatsoever. But how does the city justify this? I mean, and plus on top of that, the demographic in St. Petersburg is death plus, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, that's the area of Tampa where, these people would much rather have seen this $600 million, I'm sure, go to some kind of long-term medical care or housing for the elderly. And it'd be far more beneficial.
Norman won the Open twice.
Yeah.
Was second in the other three multiple times.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought he had won a then British Open, but he doesn't come back and play. Everybody else does. You got like 90-year-old guys. Isn't Tom Watson out there tooling around the course? No? Hogan isn't playing?
Hogan long past, I think.
Oh, he's gone?
Watson, I think is still here. He does not play anymore. But yeah, that's about, look, our ballpark down here is not in an area where it's huge American baseball fans, but it's in Miami at least. Like St. Pete is not. I have family that lives over there, and my uncle actually lived in St. Pete for a long time. Tampa is not St. Pete. Tampa is very different than St. Pete, and there's
like that 100-mile bridge that goes straight into the sky that you have to traverse.
It was always a problem, and so putting it back, I don't understand that at all. I don't know what's going to change. They already had a good product. They're struggling this year, and they're still around 500. This is their bad year, and look what the Marlins are doing in their bad year. They're still around 500, and one of the, if not the toughest division in baseball.
Organization is top notch. I mean, maybe one of the best ever run in sports, even though they have no championships.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like they're getting a stadium finally, and it's going to be in the same place that had the same shitty. Like okay, like I don't under. Like,
They can't draw flies there, Lubie. I'm telling you, they could give the tickets away and give away $100 bills at the gate, and they still wouldn't draw 18,000 to see the Red Sox play there. It's incredible.
yeah, it's weird.
So, what justification would there be for that? I mean, if the Rays were threatening to leave town,
Yeah, but
wouldn't you
they're
just be like one of those things where you, hey, yeah, sure, right? Your girl that you wanted to get rid of for the last 2 years has packed her stuff and put it in the car, and she says, "I'm leaving you. I mean it this time." And you're like, "Let me start the car here. I'll get the air conditioning going, so you don't schwitz the minute you sit down." But yeah, kind of crazy, and that has a weird history too, because remember they originally built the stadium for a team that didn't come to the Tampa area, St. Pete area, and it was just a disaster right from the start. I think a couple of teams left them as bridesmaids, and then cashed in on their own deals with the threat that they would leave whatever city they were coming from. What was the White Sox one of them?
I don't know.
Might have been San Francisco. Were they talking about leaving before they got their stadium, and they were threatening to move to Tampa? And so the people of Tampa, in their wisdom, said, "Hey, why don't we build a ballpark? We don't even have a team." And took them a while to get the expansion raised, but then drew little interest all throughout their history, in spite of the fact that they've had, Cinderella-like success on the field. If it wasn't for cash, right? They might have had a championship, right? Blake Snell. I still see Snell on the mound going, "What the fuck do you mean you're taking me out?
Yeah, he was.
The guy got a dribbler. It barely reached third base."
He was
You finished. Okay. Nice job, kid. Next guy comes in, and that's all managers today. I was just reading an article about various games that have been blown where guy comes in relief. He gets the side out in order on 9 pitches, strikes out 3 guys on 9 pitches. And then, of course, in the next inning, they take him out. They bring in the guy who's supposed to pitch the 7th, who gets lit up like a Christmas tree. All right, we got to get out of here. Make all of your wagers successful over the weekend. Get involved in the Open. There's a lot of wild prop bets, including I'm imagining that many people will cash that Tiger Woods would miss the cut, which appears to be a veritable certainty. I think he would have to shoot a 58 today to make the cut, something along those lines. He was 8 over par, man. It's hard to watch, isn't it? It really is. I mean, remember they used to wheel Arnie out there in a wheelchair, Arnie Palmer in the Masters, and you go, come on, give the guy a break, huh? After what, just let him wave to the crowd. Hey, Arnie, yeah, we love you. Latrobe, Pennsylvania, great place, man. I'll get some Pennzoil. But you don't make the guy play, do you? When does that reality hit? If Tiger Woods wants to play golf because he just doesn't play, that's great. But they always have to have the mandatory press conference where he declares, "Well, I wouldn't be out here if I didn't think I could win."
Yeah, get out of here.
El Tigre, man, you can't win.
Nope.
He doesn't need me to tell him, right? Unbelievable. But yeah, and I don't know what drugs is he on. Well, is there some implication that maybe he's on so many painkillers that he doesn't look anything like himself? He really did. He looked like one of the extras in Night of the Living Dead. Just a zombie walking across the course. All right, a lot of fun being with you. You guys have a great weekend. It's always a pleasure being with you here on the Morning Briefing. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We will see you Monday on the next edition right here on NoFilter.net of the Morning Briefing.